Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Dr. Cammy and Karen Go Keto, where Cammy and I are transitioning to a ketogenic lifestyle. And I'm trying to go carnivore, which is a subset of keto. And today we are going to talk about being extraordinary. I think that Cammy and I were talking yesterday on the phone, and we both realized we've been doing this for about 6 months, and I don't think either of us feel like we've been extraordinary in our actions and want to implement some things to become or be extraordinary. So, Cammy, what's your thoughts on being extraordinary and how did we get to this point?
Yes, thank you, Karen, and good morning, everybody. So for me, the way I was thinking about it was there's steps that you take as you go through life, and you'll start doing something and you'll get a little better at it, and then you'll take another step up and get a little better at it, and take another step up and get a little better. And I think that that's how you get to extraordinary. But you have to be relentless in the way that you step up and do things differently. Because if you're not relentless about it, if you're not really making a stand for yourself, then you kind of get to a place and you go, oh, this is good enough. I'm doing good enough here. And you don't think about, like, you don't push yourself to do better at anything that you're doing in life. And that's what the conversation yesterday showed me, that yes, I'm doing some things that you could really consider extraordinary, because I'm almost off binging completely, which is extraordinary for me and my history and where I used to eat so much processed carbohydrate food that I physically could not get off the couch to go get in my bed. I had to just pass out on the couch for 3 hours until I could get up. When I think about that, I'm like, hey, what I'm doing now is extraordinary. But there are more things that I could be doing that would be even more extraordinary, that would push me to my limits. And so I'm really motivated to be that way now and to work on that. And for me, that means things like being hungry, being a little bit hungry. And I'm not talking hungry for days. I'm talking hungry maybe for a couple of hours as I try to shrink my eating window and expand my fasting window. It's about the foods that I'm eating. It's not eating so much low carb keto lasagna, which I absolutely love and I make. And I know exactly all the ingredients that are in it. And it's about 6 carbs per serving that I make. So it could be within my plan, but I think the dairy and the borderline foods that we call in our sugar things, the milk and the nuts that are considered kind of borderline foods that are in my diet could phase out. And I've done a really good job of phasing out cheese, which I love. I don't eat a lot of cheese. So there's just things that I've done, but I feel like I could really push myself up to the next level and not be complacent and sit where I am.
Gotcha. And a couple of things came up when you were saying that. So I think that what you point out is very true. What started as extraordinary has now become the ordinary, right? What started out for you're not binging as much, right? What happened was it went from, I don't know, let's call it once a week or every 10 days back in the day years ago, to once every other week and then every 20 days, and now the volume of food is completely reduced. You're just eating
Mhm.
a few things off of plan. And but now that's ordinary, right? Now
Exactly.
you now you've got to raise the bar so that you can have the extraordinary, because it was extraordinary when you decided not to binge, or to put that mindset in place so that when the binges came on, you had more awareness of it. And I think that that's true for, like you said, a lot of things in your life. It could be with relationships or with finances, or gambling addictions or other addictions, or how you relate with your spouse or children or parents. I've noticed, because I was reading this book called My Stroke of Insight by Jill Bolte Taylor. It's about a woman who was in her 30s when she had a stroke, and she was a neurobiologist. She was some sort of neuroscientist. And she had a stroke and she had to recover. She said it took about 8 years. She's 69 now, and that was about 32 years ago, I think. But it's a very interesting book, and I watch it with my mom because of her. She's in a wheelchair, she has limited mobility, and it used to be like little bits of movement were, was the extraordinary thing. But now we're trying to get her to reach, to move her legs, to start walking, and we're pushing her. And it's interesting because Jill Bolte Taylor's book, A Stroke of Insight, talks about the right brain and left brain. And I'm not sure how much of that is still, that neuroscientists still believe that there's a left brain and a right brain, but clearly there are different hemispheres that have different functions, but they clearly work together. Because my mom's strokes, I know my mom's strokes were in her right, I think in her right brain, because it's affected her left side, or maybe it's been in the center. But we're trying all different things to get her movements and to get her awareness brought to each little piece of her body. I think that's what we need to do with our eating. Like, we've talked about these things, and Cammy, I have not implemented them. And, I've said I'm going to, and I really have to, because we're at 6 months and I thought my 40 pounds would be gone. And I think I've got 5 pounds that are gone, maybe 8 pounds. So, because I can tell my clothes are fitting a little loosely, but I thought I'd need a belt. I thought they'd be, falling on to the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm at about 25 pounds, maybe 28 pounds off. So, I was hoping to be at 60 by now, or planning. I don't know. I had planned it all out and I haven't looked at that lately because I know I'm way behind. But I agree. I think the right and left brain are involved. And also it's, for me, there's the physical part of it, like, physically eating differently, physically going, with a little bit of hunger. But then there's the right side of the brain part of it, I think, which is my way of feeling like I'm being, like you're just being a certain way. Like the thoughts that go on in your head are different thoughts. Like on the 7th, couple of days ago, which was my birthday, my thought was when they brought out the menu and it was restaurant week, so you could eat 3 different courses for $45, which was great, and they included dessert. And when I saw that, I had no intention of eating dessert when I was there, even though it was my birthday. I was like, I don't really like cake, I'm not going to eat anything there. But when I saw that the dessert was included, I ended up eating 2 bites of tiramisu and 2 bites of cannoli, because I split them with my sister. And, that's not being extraordinary.
Especially if you went in thinking you weren't going to have it. That's a whole analysis there of why was the switch, right? Why did you go from I'm not going to eat it to I'm going to eat it? Just because it was in the menu, just because it was included. That's an interesting observation. So, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, because there seems to be money involved in it too. Like there's always other things involved in why I eat off plan. There's money involved. There's a change of plans. And Karen and I have talked about sneakiness and how really that's just me being undisciplined and justifying that I can be undisciplined by being sneaky. That goes way back to when I was really young and stealing cookies from the kitchen. So there's a lot of other things involved. And it's just been really interesting, kind of like a piece of yarn that's all tangled up. And you have to kind of be real gentle and real slow to untangle it. If you try to tangle it hard, it doesn't go. And so the other thing too is that we always just have to allow ourselves a little bit of grace and a little bit of compassion as we're working through this, because we are working through this.
Yeah, I think that focus and patience, I think, are 2 critical virtues to have in changing up this lifestyle.
Absolutely.
All right. Good talking to you, Cammy. Everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for going on our journey, and we'll work on those checking in and changing things up and being extraordinary. Bye, everybody.
Good luck, everybody. Be extraordinary.